Hi, I wanted to spend a little time giving a more in-depth review of my Berg display case and what my dad and I did to refurbish it. First of all, you can see over here, this is the case that I got for $275 at a thrift store. They must have had 6 or 8 of them that they were selling. I wanted a shorter one, or as far as the length and width and the depth, because of the space that I had to put it in. So this was the one that they had. The top glass was very scratched up, so I replaced that. That was one of the first things that we did, was replace that. And one of the key things that we did is the way that these were made. Again, this one was made in 1971. They've been making Berg cases since the 30s to be rotating displays in stores, mainly for, it could be for pipes or jewelry or all sorts of different kind of knick-knack things would go in these trays and give the store owner a great way to display those in a rotating way. But the trays are important. These are the original trays that come with a case. Usually there's a dozen or so of them, 12 to 15 that would come with a case. They are usually plastic and have an end that hangs onto the little pegs on the chain that pull it around the case. They are a standard width, of which if you try to put a baseball card case in, it will stand up and not lay flat, which in and of itself isn't bad, but it just doesn't have the same kind of look that I was going for. If you have it in landscape mode, certainly a card will fit in there, no problem. And that's true of both a standard top loader, or I use a lot of single screws, so single screws, same thing. It won't go in there completely, so we just have a problem with the cards being at an angle. And so what my dad and I did was we designed a new tray, and we wanted it to be pretty. This plastic is ugly, even if you get a liner on it, which a lot of places have. You can buy felt or some type of material that would line it and make it look nicer, or you could paint them as well, but the paint chips and all that. So what we did is we made them out of pure walnut. So you have a walnut base and 2 walnut sides that we cut out, as well as solid walnut ends. You can see on our end that we have, we manufactured these little metal hooks that go on the pegs so that the trays can rotate around. We manufactured these ourselves, cut them all out, had to do 30 of them because we have 15 trays. And so when we made the tray, we wanted it wide enough to where if I put a single screw in, that it would fit down. So they're all measured perfect where a single screw can fit perfectly in there, as well as a regular top loader. And so they can just go side by side. You can get, in our case, 10 across in each tray. I have 15 trays, so that makes for 150 cards that I can display if I want to do them portrait style, which is really great. That's a lot. You notice that because of the wider tray, it's interesting the geometry and how it works. When it's going around the case, there are angles that it hits at the bottom and are coming around it, making its full circular motion. And so these have to be at a much lower profile than these, bottom to top, the amount of underslung, or however you would call that, so that the angles still work. So just some boring geometry stuff that we had to figure out in making this. So that's the trays. I think those look significantly nicer than these, so that's why we did that, to add some really neat class to it. So back to the case itself. So walnut's our theme wood at the bottom here. This is a raised panel walnut surface here that we've used. The front glass was fine. This is the original front glass. Not very many scratches at all on it, if any. On the sides, we did a walnut paneling as well because it had a very, very ugly paneling that was there that was literally glued on. It was terrible. So we replaced it with a walnut finish and gave that a nice coat of polyurethane. So the top of it here is silver. We cleaned that up. It's got certainly some scratches on it because it's 40 years old, but that's okay because we wanted it to have some character to it. But we took this entire thing apart and cleaned it all up. I was able to find, and a shout out to Joel at Spin Displays, that's where they make the current versions of these. A walnut one like this is about $3,200, but he had parts from the old one, so I got a new. This was totally worn out. This directions on how to push to get the mechanism to go forward or backwards, totally worn off. I got a new one of those and a new switch for the inside as part of the motor. So you can see the front here, there's a metal piece in there, a partition between the trays and the motor mechanism in the back. We pulled all that out, cleaned it up, painted it this really nice khaki color, or what color is that, Jessica? Like a cream color, yeah, to try to go against the hard color of the wood of the trays, and I think it does it's a great contrast. Cleaned the whole thing out. The mechanism in the back, the motor mechanism. Pull the camera back there, and you can see down that it's pretty old, but it's really neat how it works. Inside of there are some switches and some other things, so that as you push buttons, it comes on and off, and goes forward, goes backwards. The light is inside was in great shape. It's neon, so as long as I don't break the bulb, it'll run pretty much forever. And so you can really see how it looks when it's running. I'll run it a little bit. I've got one of the trays pulled out, obviously, because I was showing it to you. But as it can move around, you can stop it to look at different shelves. You can move it backwards. Let's go look at that one again. So it's just a really great way to show a lot of cards and display part of your collection. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed and learned something. Feel free to ask me any questions you want. Just post below.